Hello there, my name is Rachel. Let's talk about animation. Today we'll talk about new anime series from Netflix called Pluto. Now, I'm not gonna spoil that much because it's sort of a detective show, so I'm gonna be very limited the things I say. But you're curious, this anime is any good? I have to say yes, it's very good. If something is better, then you should not see this review because even that I'm trying not to spoil anything. I might mention some things here and there to understand the plot or the characters or compare contrast the idea they're trying to say. But other than that, this is very good. If you like sci-fi detective sort of noir sort of story, even that Pluto that is super interesting, that is connected to Astro Boy. If you don't know what Astro Boy is, it's basically the first anime slash manga was created in Japan. It was sort of inspired by Disney work of Fantasia. They want to do their own anime, their own manga, but the only problem is they can never do the level of Disney, so they decided to be more artistic and well-developed characters than whimsical. That's sort of the information you understand about Pluto, or specifically Astro Boy. But Astro Boy ended a serve a long time ago, but they decided to make a sort of kind of anniversary special about Astro Boy, and they hired Pacific writer and manga writer to make it sort of a special of the one of the best arcs of Astro Boy. But interesting enough, the guy who made it sort of went in a completely different direction, and it became Pluto. Even that not exactly the creator or the company wanted that. They read the work saying, yeah, this is way too good. So decided to screw it, just change the name of the characters, and just name it Pluto. And that's sort of the interesting thing about this because when you see this detective series, you obviously see who is Astro Boy. You see all the characters from Astro Boy here. Just sort of changed the name because once again, it sort of went a little bit too off direction of the original arc of Astro Boy, but the influence is there. You can actually see it. Even that Astro people who are fans of Astro Boy do love Pluto because it's so good, so dramatic, so interesting because it's sort of still very essence of Astro Boy. I'm sort of surprised they did not decide just call it Astro Boy, period. But other than that, it's still amazing. Of course, the one little complaint I have is probably the first episode is a tad slow because on purpose because each episode is basically an hour long and they have to figure out the pacing of that, especially the first episode to introduce all the ideas. Like the first episode, first half is interesting because you find out they killed someone. It could be a robot, it could be not, and the detective trying to find out who is who, and that's sort of connected of the seven strongest robots of sort of Astro Boy world, but not. I know that can sound confusing, but it's like probably the last time I will mention that. But it's basically the arc is have the basically is this sort of killer trying to kill the seven most powerful robots for some apparent reason, but it's sort of connected to a war, connected to the people who made a new law to sort of start the war, stop this sort of dictatorship. They're connected to it, but they don't know how it's connected or why this person is evolved of it, and that's sort of how the mystery intrigues you onwards. Sort of the reason why this robot killed this specific person, even that they have a law of robotics connected it, that a robot should not kill a human being. A robot should protect that human being. But the third rule is basically you rearrange the two rules, the condition of the person he's hurting himself. You should stop that person before he hurt himself. And how this robot goes around that idea. Oh, it was deprogrammed or not programmed. You think that's sort of the basics, but they go sort of goes to the shell sort of ideas. They go that sort of compare and contrast of sort of what people hate about robots, but at the same time, robot becoming sort of evolving in a way, but sort of compare and contrast that sort of unique idea. Once more, I'm gonna talk about the first episode that shows of the one the seven strong robots. What happened to the war after that was done? Well, then became sort of a servant about this sort of musician that he started complaining loses his memory, and this is the point where compare and contrast comes in because the man sort of loses his memory, but he's still a good musician. He feels he's losing his touch. Maybe he's not losing touch. He's sort of complaining and comparing himself to the robot, like, "Oh, you are the special. You can remember everything. You are just a robot, a machine, a war of destruction." And the robot kind of stops him in a polite way, but compares and contrasts, like, "Yeah, I am a machine who kills, but I choose not to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be was told. I want to create music, or at least learn how to, someone like you." And that is sort of interesting because they sort of compare and contrast who they are, not just but with how they was raised, but their talents. Like, once again, they compare his memories. He losing the music artist his memories, but compared to robot cannot lose his memories because it's a robot, but he doesn't want to remember because all the horrible things he has done. And that is interesting because they keep going over and over these ideas, the benefits of being robot, but that benefits can actually hurt the robot itself. I think one of the best aspects is the detective is sort of a human, but he's actually more robot than anything else. He's like sort of advanced AI, and he usually follow the rules, but sometimes fall into there is no rules. So should I do this? Should I not do this? And that want to make him more kind of human because at a certain point he goes to another robot who lost his spouse, but she doesn't really need his spouse because she's a robot, but she has sort of emotions. And that's sort of interesting because at a certain point he had to give his spouse memories to her so she could connect to him the last moments of his identity, in other words. And there is no law against this because there's a robot, but accidentally giving the last memories of the robot who died. That last events he was killed. You feel sort of sorry, but he didn't do that. She didn't see the clue he sort of missed. And I found that sort of fascinating because once more, it was a law there. He probably never did it, but he did it because there was no law. And that's sort of the interesting thing about this anime. It's just sort of kind of questions things, or what you do your sort of position of that person. You should give a memory that you love her last moments, give to that person all the memories, or you shouldn't. But once more, there is no law to that. It just sort of if it's the right thing morally. And that's just fascinating. That's what it does so well about this anime. It just sort of answers that sort of questions, wondering this is the right thing. Even that also questions the robots, like questioning humans. Why create monument of themselves? There is no point because if you do, you sort of ruin the art of life or nature. Like the reason why people put statue of champions is to not forget, and it feels sort of weird when people forget of the champion. Once again, instead of how the world works, is how people work, and that's just sort of fascinating. That's the thing that sort of grabs you. Of course, the only complaint I said at the very beginning is sort of slow at the very beginning, especially the first episode. Specifically more than the second half of the first episode. After that, it picks up because they keep kind of leaning up the other ideas, how be human, how the robot is sort of evolving, who is killing the other robots, why, how they pass a law of robotics, why they actually create the law of robotics, or law being accepted in society, and they sort of ask all these questions connected to this sort of serial killer that I'm not sure it's human or not human. It connected to the war and what happened to people in the war. It has so many aspects of it you just sort of found super fascinating and gripping. You just want to know more. And in fact, that's just the most interesting thing about this. Of course, I try not to spoil anything. I only talked about the first episode, but other than that, it's that good. It is amazing. I do recommend it. Just be patient because the first episode is a tad slow, but it goes, it goes. Of course, be warned. This series is single episode. I think we total 8 episodes. Each episode is an hour long. So yeah, you can have a lot of things just dialogue after dialogue, just sort of interesting and amazing. Just be a little bit patient. It's completely worth it. Now I have one question. You see this new anime. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.